Hello, it's Teacher Carrie here, and I'm back with another ManyCam tutorial. Today I want to walk you through some buttons you may not have noticed before in your ManyCam in hopes that it will help you customize your user experience to exactly what you want it to be. No, of course this video has not been sponsored by anyone, so hashtag not sponsored, and let's jump into it. I'm going to take you over to the view of my computer desktop where you can see me sitting in my ManyCam app. And the first button I want you to notice is on the lower left-hand side. There are three little vertical dots here, and if I hover my cursor over that, you can see that it's called a display preview. And from this display preview, you can set whether you would like your preset boxes to be in one row, which makes your app look a little bit sleeker, or if you want them to be in two rows. Now, I usually make one preset box for each of the 6 students that I teach every day, so sometimes I have up to 12 preset boxes because I also have a welcome or goodbye slide, a little chalkboard slide, a custom desktop area for my Google Slides, and of course then a box for each one of my students. So I like to be able to see all of my presets that I have available to me all at one time. But if you don't want to see your presets at all, you can also hide them all together. So if you only use a couple of them and you know what number they are all the time, you keep them the same, you might hide your presets if you want to make your app look a little bit smaller and sleeker. But of course you can get them back by going to those three little dots again and clicking that button again. This next button over here is a video playlist, and that is really for people who want to film videos using ManyCam. So I'm not going to talk to you too much about that one, but don't be afraid to press that button if you'd like to see what is in there. And I'm going to take you across this little toolbar. You can record videos in ManyCam, and I've done that several times. It's a lot of fun. This is how I film my intro video and things like that for VIP Kid. You can just press that little record and then press it again if you want to stop. This button is for live streaming. Most people on VIP Kid are probably not going to be doing that too often. And you can also take a capture. Just take a photo of yourself if you want to show your background without having to do a screen grab from your computer. So you can also find those little captures in your gallery along your widgets here. And here are your my snapshots. So this is just the picture that I took right now if I want to take that out of there and put it somewhere else. I'm just going to click that button again so that my sidebar will disappear. I have a whole other video about how to navigate your widgets and to use hotkeys to navigate between your presets. This is just a more specific video about buttons you may not have noticed before. So don't be concerned that I'm not going through the names of each one of these and how to use them right now. I'll leave a link in the description for those two videos that I just mentioned. There is along this little bottom toolbar here a view of your microphone so that you can make sure that your sound is working well. I have selected here system sound and microphone high definition audio. That's this. My system sound, this is for filming videos that I'm going to post on YouTube, and this will not pick up sound from like a YouTube video to put into my VIP Kid classroom. That's a whole separate thing, and you usually need a third-party app to help with that. So I won't talk to you too much about that today. And then the next little button, but you can see that little blue going up and down when I talk. It's just giving me a quick view that yes, my microphone is working. The next button over here is full screen. And if I press that, it's going to pop out another version of my video here. And this is kind of like a preview of what my students might see in class. So if I'm concerned about how the final preset is going to look as I show it to my students, I can click on that little full screen button to just bring it up without all the rest of my ManyCam app to make sure I like how it looks before I start using it. And then to get rid of that, you just click this little X on the side there. The next button I want to talk to you about is a little bit computer geeky, and I am not a computer expert by any means, so I'm just going to give you the most basic terms that I can to help you kind of understand what you can see in this button. But mostly you're probably not going to have to worry about it. Down on the very lower right hand corner, there's a little I for information. And if you hover over that, it's going to give you three different numbers. The first number is your FPS or frames per second, which you will have set up in the upper right hand side of your screen here. Mine is set to 60. That's the highest quality rating it can be. It's just basically saying that it's taking 60 pictures of me each second in order to compile them together to make my video. Now, you would be just fine if you're using 30 or even 20 or 25 for your frame rating. My computer has a pretty good graphics card and RAM and processing and things like that, so it can handle this higher rating. But if you're noticing some lag in your classroom when you're using ManyCam, you might change yours to a lower number here and kind of lighten the load a little bit on your computer. But if I go back down to my little info button here, you can see that it says CPU between 2 and 3%. This is basically my computer brain power, how hard ManyCam is being on my computer and making it work. So mine is set at 3% right now. Now, you don't have any control over these numbers other than changing your frame rate and things here. This is just an information about how ManyCam is performing on your computer for you. So if your number is really high, like 60, 70, 80, I don't know, whatever percent feels too high for you, ManyCam might be not a great program for you to use on your particular computer. So you'll just have to see everybody's computer is different and all of the specs and things like that are different. And again, I am not a computer expert. I just know that 3% seems reasonable for what I'm doing right now. And then it does also tell you your RAM. Mine says 300 and I don't know, my eyes are not very good. 389 megabytes. And I think my computer has, I don't know, 16 or so gigabytes. So much, much more than what ManyCam is using here. But again, if it's using up a lot of your RAM, you might need to do some fixing for that. Don't ask me though, I'm not a computer expert, particularly not for Mac computers, but this just gives you some information if you are curious. And the next thing I want to take you to is your settings menu. So to do that, I'm going to add Mini-Me on the screen so you can see me as I am talking. I have some buttons selected here that you may not have in your settings. So let's go through some of them. Mine says Run ManyCam on Startup. I do select that, yes, because I only use this computer really for teaching and I want it to be ready when I'm ready to go each morning. So I clicked that button. And then I said, notify me about new ManyCam versions. I do want ManyCam to let me know if there's a new update that I should be downloading. So I clicked that. Enable HTML notifications. I'm not really exactly sure what that means, but I like to get notifications about ManyCam, so I said yes. Since I don't know what asynchronous frame rate or frame transmission is, I didn't click that button. It doesn't seem to have affected anything. This was the factory, I'll call it factory setting for ManyCam, so I'm not going to mess with that one. And then it says keep my video sources connected when ManyCam is hidden. And I definitely want to do that. If I were to minimize my ManyCam, I still want my student to be able to see me. So if I'm doing something on my computer screen and I need a little more space and I just minimize ManyCam to the bottom tray, I don't want my video to turn off. So I do have that button. And then I have selected switch to overlay mode when ManyCam is hidden. And basically what this means is I don't actually want ManyCam to close. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Right above my little 600p, this is the source, size source basically for ManyCam, whether it's going to be more rectangular or more square. Since my VIPK classroom is sort of square, this 600 number works for me, and I know a lot of people use this for 80p number as well. But right above that, there's a little box with an arrow pointing down. And if I were to click that box, it looks like my ManyCam has disappeared from my computer. Oh no! It has not. It has just minimized itself to the left side of my screen here, which can be rather handy, especially if you are using just one computer monitor. I do use two computer monitors, and my main computer monitor is very, very large, so I have a lot of space on my computer desktop, but most people probably don't. So this is a nice way to interact with your ManyCam without having it take up your whole computer screen. So the nice thing about this little app drawer, you just remember that it's hiding over there to the left And you can kind of see the little white outline as I go away from it and come closer. But you can actually pick this up and put it anywhere you'd like it to be on your computer. So for example, if I open up my VIP Kid Classroom, let's just double tap on my VIP Kid. Let's say that I had my class listings over here and I had some Google Slides or something over there, I would be able to put my ManyCam very small in this little sliver right here. So from this, there's a little button I want you to notice at the bottom, and I'm going to bring this up so that you can focus on it a little bit easier here. There's a little button here that says video. If I click on that, it's going to bring me up a little preview of my video in ManyCam. So I can see what my students are seeing even if I don't have the full operation window open. And I do have the option to change to a cute little bubble view or this little square. And I could turn my background on or off with that. I do want my background on because mostly I want to be able to see exactly what the student can see. So goodbye. I don't want too many me's right now. Just one will do. Also from this window, you have access to your presets. So if you are using your hotkeys and you forget what number you need to go to, you can click on this little preset box here. You can scroll down to navigate to all of them and cut into any of them that you might want to go to. You could also just use this little transition button if you want to go to another one. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can use that, and you do actually have access to your draw and text widget here in ManyCam if you click on that button. Now to get rid of it, if I started drawing on my screen, let's pick a pencil. I'll get a pink and I'll just write hi in the corner here. To get rid of that, if I were just to click on that button again, all it's doing is putting pink little dots over that draw little widget there. So first what I want to do is just delete those things that I just did with my little trash can here and make sure that my pen is no longer selected. And then I can just move to another thing by clicking on my computer desktop itself. So if you ever get stuck in your little drawing widget here, just delete what you have done so far and click on your computer desktop. And again, from here, I can see that my microphone is functioning well. So that is really great. And I could take a picture if I wanted to or start recording. Most people probably aren't going to need to do that. And to get back into my full version of ManyCam, I'm going to press this button with the box and the arrow pointing the other direction. That'll bring me up the full screen version of me. So, oh, there we go. I have hotkeys for two different programs going on to show you this video. So when I went to my settings there and I had selected switch to overlay mode when ManyCam is hidden, that means that if I come up to my little X to close out my ManyCam completely, it's not going to close completely because I have selected to keep it open with that overlay mode, or the shrinky dink mode, I like to call it. So I can go back to my full mode there, and if I want to close it when it's hidden, I could unclick that button. But like I said, I mostly just use this computer for teaching, and ManyCam is a big part of my teaching, so I just went ahead and selected that button there. And then there's some different settings and things like that that you can play around with in here. But I think that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to tell you about these buttons in your ManyCam that you may not have noticed before. I have a whole separate video about saving your presets. So you'll want to see that video. It's called Advanced Troubleshooting in ManyCam, but it's pretty easy. You can just save your project. I do like to go, if I'm going to save my project, I like to click these three little buttons, and that is going to allow me to put them on my Google Drive here. So I can save it there and then I can open it on my Google Drive. But again, that's a whole separate video. And unfortunately, I was part of putting out some misinformation about ManyCam the other day in a ManyCammers Facebook group, and I want to apologize for that. ManyCam is not a cloud-based program, meaning that even if I save my presets over here, I can't just go to another computer to open them. There's some ways to do that, but really it's not worth it, the amount of work that it takes in order to get everything right, because you have to change your camera sourcing and things like that. And it's not something I want to get into in this video at all, but just know that when you're saving your presets, you're saving them locally to the computer that you are currently using. You can't really just pick them up and take them to another computer. Okay, just so that you know that if you want to save your presets, I always think it's a good idea to save things if you can, in case something happens with your computer and you need to restart it or something like that. ManyCam does automatically save, or it should automatically save, but I always like to save my presets if I've spent a long time working on them anyway. So I hope this helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions. And my biggest takeaway from today is don't be afraid to press the buttons in ManyCam. You do not, there's nothing you can do button pressing wise that you can't undo in ManyCam, okay? So if you do something and you didn't like how it looked, just go back and press that button again and it will just undo it for you. And of course, if something happens with a particular preset that you don't like, you can delete that preset and try again. So don't be afraid to press those buttons in ManyCam. Go exploring, make that your goal for today. Press one new button that you've never pressed before and just see what happens. And of course, if you get very, very confused, I can help you get things back the way that you had them. So reach out if you have any questions. I hope you have a great day teaching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.